This is a full story. Puppy wishes you all a happy and enjoyable story. I ran into my crush at the Infertility and Reproductive Center. 2 words made my crush remember me vividly. Go up. 3 words made my crush never forget me. Take off your pants. As an intern in the reproductive department, I actually ended up seeing my crush. I felt a bit nervous, and there was also a hint of regret. Such a handsome person, how could he have these kinds of issues? I turned around to get a pair of tweezers, but saw he was still standing there, looking at me with confusion. I pointed to the tweezers, and he flinched. To consider his feelings, I tried to phrase it delicately. Are you here because your body isn't quite cooperating? My crush's expression seemed to crack. At this moment, my tardy teacher finally pushed the door open. Is it Peter? My crush finally spoke. I'm Peter's family member. I glanced at the teacher, then at my crush, and then at the medical records. Oh, I mistook the family member for the patient. Not him. I'm done for, folks. Let's move to another planet. I'm tired. Peter, an associate professor in history, once went viral at the university forum with a side profile photo of him in high definition, like a mosaic. That photo supposedly made a certain female student in the university lose her appetite and think of nothing else, yearning for him. Unfortunately, that female student was me. So when he walked into the consultation room, my heart first stirred with waves of shock, then sighed at his condition, and finally wished I could die on the spot upon discovering the truth. I'm tired, let it all end. I swore I never wanted to see him again. Strangely, I had been trying to enroll in his classes since college and never managed to get a spot. But on the day I swore, I inexplicably got in. I looked at the computer screen showing enrollment successful and hurriedly chose to drop the class. I finally breathed a sigh of relief. Then my roommate, in order to fulfill my dream, stayed up all night and quickly snatched the spot I had painstakingly dropped. When she triumphantly told me, I was so moved I nearly cried, wishing I could eat her up. To graduate smoothly, I had no choice but to attend this love-hate class. That day, I watched Peter walk into the classroom. He wore a black shirt with rolled-up sleeves, exposing his fair and muscular forearms, and a delicate gold-rimmed glasses perched on his high-nose bridge. His eyes were full and slightly upturned. He was so handsome, he didn't need such talent. Through the crowd, I distinctly saw his gaze pause on me. His pink lips curled into a slight smile. That look clearly said, awake, it's hunting time. Peter's long fingers tapped on the desk. Class representative, please answer this question. How did I become Peter's designated class representative? I stood up trembling. Teacher, I don't. Peter looked at me. Failing to answer means losing participation points. Teacher, my answer might be wrong. Wrong answers also lose points. I suspect you're fabricating problems and secretly plotting. If you want to deduct points, just say so. I sat down reluctantly, continuing to watch Peter command the stage. Honestly, I had never listened to a class so attentively, nor had I ever been so honored to receive such attention from a teacher. Whenever I wanted to nap, Peter's gaze would sweep over. I would immediately wake up. If the old Peter was like an aphrodisiac to me, now he was more like an annoying menthol bomb. After class, everyone crowded at the door to leave. I appeared in front of Peter with my phone. Teacher, can I add you on Facebook? Peter frowned, looking at me with confusion. I instinctively took a step back, not to contact you privately. How did I blurt out my real thoughts? Actually, it's for submitting class assignments. Peter took out his phone, looked at me. Did I say that? I pulled out my phone, scanned the code, applied to add as a friend, and wrote a note quickly. But Peter kept operating his phone screen. What's he doing? Adding me to a group? It's not like he's setting do not disturb for messages, right? I lifted my foot to see but was startled by Peter's glance. I saw nothing. He put his phone back into his pocket. Haley, majoring in reproductive medicine? I nodded obsequiously, yes. I waited for his next polite remark, but he didn't say anything further. The atmosphere began to grow awkward. Say something. Not saying anything is really awkward. In a flash, I thought of a topic to break the ice. Well, if you have any related concerns, you can come find me. He was about to shut down the computer on the podium when his hand on the mouse suddenly paused. That seems a bit strange. No. Why would you come find me? What am I saying? I hurriedly waved my hand. No, teacher, you look like you. I gave a thumbs up. Must be amazing. Why does it feel even stranger? The computer screen finally went dark and Peter straightened up, pinching his eyebrows. Class representative. From now on, besides answering questions, try to talk less. Okay. On the weekend, I sent Peter the group assignment for this week. I attached a carefully chosen emoji at the bottom of the zip file. A polite and restrained smile. But Peter doesn't seem to like instant replies, so I waited a long time without hearing back from him. After thinking it over, I figured it might have been too awkward when we first met. As a student, I should politely and modestly apologize to him. So I typed, "Teacher, I'm really sorry for mistaking you in the department last time." Awkward and stiff. So I deleted it and retyped, "Humble Haley here, admitting my mistake. Does this seem a bit forced?" So I changed it to, "Sorry, teacher, it was my oversight when we first met. Please don't take it to heart." I nodded in satisfaction. Polite and composed, neither servile nor arrogant. Very good. I sent it, and he still didn't reply. But I was really curious about his reaction, so I kept waiting. During the wait, I got so bored that I started taking selfies. Eventually, it turned into changing outfits for selfies. At the very end, I even edited a photo, intending to send it to my best friend. But my phone was so slow that at the moment I clicked on my friend's avatar, Peter's avatar swapped with hers. In a flash, I sent the selfie to Peter. In the photo, I was wearing a black spaghetti strap dress, striking a pose, with a caption at the bottom, "Sexy little wildcat, waiting for you tonight." Shocking my whole family, utterly speechless. Sexy little wildcat, waiting tonight? And sent to Peter? A female student trying to seduce a university professor? I'm probably getting expelled or failing the course tomorrow. In a panic, I quickly clicked retract. Fortunately, the phone was quite fast this time. The image finally disappeared, and I saw a clean screen. Phew, very good. Just as I was about to go back and resend to my friend, a line of text suddenly appeared at the top of the screen. "The other party is typing." My heart jumped to my throat. I finally got Peter's reply. I saw it. Let's just say, forget it. It's better not to say anything. What can I say now? Looking at Peter's chat box, I clung to a tiny glimmer of hope, trying to salvage a bit of face. I typed, "Teacher, did you see my apology?" The screen showed, "The other party is typing." During those few seconds of typing, my emotions were like a roller coaster. I silently wished, "Please don't let him see. Please don't let him see." Until I saw his message, my mood plummeted. He replied, "No." Why did he reply with a no? Can't he see I retracted it? Is it so hard for him to pretend he didn't see it? Does he need me to go up to the rooftop and apologize with my life to make him happy? You. Peter replied, "The picture. Okay, thank you." I felt a mix of indignation, regret, and shame, all flooding to my fingertips. "Thank you for the reminder." At this point, all I could reply was, "I'm sorry, teacher. It was a mistake." I held my phone and began the long wait. The response from the other end was brief but powerful. He replied, "Nice job, Peter. Really something." That question mark ended our conversation and also ruined my entire weekend. Until the next week, when I saw Peter in class again. He wore a simple black t-shirt without glasses. His profile showed a high, straight nose, giving a sharp curve, and his lean, muscular build looked refined and powerful. With someone like him standing at the podium, does anyone really care what he's talking about? His gaze slowly swept over the classroom, then paused on me. Why? Why does he always pause on me? Do I look like a comma? I hurriedly looked down, avoiding his gaze. Out of the corner of my eye, I thought he might have smirked slightly, looking somewhat pleased. I quickly looked up again, only to see him getting into the subject with enthusiasm. In ancient times, cats had many alternative names, such as 4 Seasons Good, Cloud Covering Snow, Golden Hairpin in Silver Vase, General Seal. Then he seemed to notice my gaze and smiled at me, nodding. Of course, it can also be called Little Wild Cat. I shivered. What does this mean? Trying to embarrass me? Fine, you succeeded. Our gazes met, and I panicked, not sitting steadily, causing the chair to creak loudly. Peter chuckled, "Class representative, is your body not cooperating?" I suddenly remembered the question I had asked him when he first came to the reproductive department. Sometimes, does your body not quite support you? Again, well done. Never provoke a man. I gave him an awkward smile, and Peter lowered his head. As he did, I clearly saw him raise an eyebrow. Oh no. He raised an eyebrow. Does he not know how alluring that raised eyebrow is? But that's not important. What's important is, what's going on? Is he happy seeing me embarrassed? I don't know if he's happy, but I'm not. Very unhappy. Because of my low-level mistake at work, such an incident happened, and it just so happens that the other party is my crush. And after it happened, I still see him every day, and it feels like he's not planning to let it go, always finding a way to remind me of it. Isn't the price for this mistake a bit too high? So I turned my frustration into appetite, drinking a few more glasses at dinner. Oh no. I mean, a few bottles. Or should I say, I lost count, until I got drunk, and when I woke up, I found myself lying across a bed. My first reaction upon waking was, no way. My dorm bed is so small that even a slight turn would drop me to the floor. Where is there so much space to lie down horizontally? Not my bed. I immediately woke up and sat up. No way, no way. Could it be such a coincidence that a handsome guy is lying next to me saying good morning? Is this the charm of a hangover? Is television not lying to me? I swallowed nervously and looked toward the edge of the bed. My side was empty, and I sighed with relief. But before I could even catch my breath, I was startled again. I saw abs walking toward me from the corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I'm not mistaken, it should be a full 6-pack.
Oh no.
Not just abs, but a man with abs. No, no way. Is television lying to me? I looked up and saw the owner of the abs, bare-chested, with wet, tousled hair, looking at me with damp eyes. Peter, what's going on? My body stiffened immediately. You. Peter brushed the damp hair from his forehead, frowning slightly. You don't remember? Actually, looking at his outfit and my own state, I looked at him in confusion. His eyebrows furrowed even more. Irresponsible? What? Hey, what you're saying is so strange. Right now, I don't even know what happened. I looked at Peter, inquiring. Last night, maybe noticing my intense gaze on his abs, he pursed his lips and finally put on a t-shirt. He casually sat on the sofa, crossing his legs. I took a deep breath. He glanced at me, very interested, very lively. My hands trembled. So, what about us? Peter pinched his eyebrows, partied very late. Nice. Sunlight spilled over the fluffy carpet, and the room was neat and tidy. Because Peter had just showered, the air was slightly humid. I had a splitting headache, looking at Peter, tugging at the hem of my clothes. The clothes were intact. Everything shouldn't be as dreadful as I imagined. Peter said I had drunk too much last night, and my friend had him come pick me up and take care of me. I had been vomiting violently, enthusiastically dragging him to sing and dance, and only fell asleep very late. Typical of me. Absurd. But, wait, why should I believe his words? Why would a friend call him to pick me up? This doesn't make sense. I voiced my doubts, and Peter shrugged helplessly, showing me his phone. Don't you remember the contact note you gave me? I opened Facebook, and the note for Peter read clearly, husband. I shivered all over and met Peter's scrutinizing gaze. He pointed at the phone and looked at me with a playful expression. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the grand public embarrassment scene. He might not understand that husband only meant I found him somewhat attractive. I've called many people a husband. I can't even remember how many. There's really no need to overreact. Peter spoke again. Do you really not remember anything from last night? I was again surprised. Didn't he just explain everything clearly? It sounded like he meant something else. I dared not look up, only sneaking glances at him. He calmly instructed me to open the photo gallery on my phone. The last photo was a video from last night. The camera was shaky. The scene showed a table full of leftover food, bottles of alcohol scattered everywhere, and people swaying around, half muddled and half clear-headed. My best friend was holding my hand, and I was holding hers. It had a feeling of victorious comrades reuniting. She was flushed with excitement. Peter, did you win? In the video, I was drunkenly flailing, almost falling off my chair. Is there a man I can't conquer? My best friend, in her excitement, pounded my back. Where did your pants go? My expression was obscured by my best friend, and all you could see were the two of us hugging and swaying. Did we really take them off? Really? The camera angle shifted, and Peter was standing at the table, his hair disheveled, staring intently at my best friend and me. His face was as dark as a pot bottom, looking travel-worn, as if he had just rushed over. He waved to me in the video, seemingly trying to hold back his emotions. Haley, come here. So I stumbled over to him and smiled sweetly at the camera. See? This is my husband. No one's allowed to steal him from me. Peter's face turned from black to white, then green, and finally purple, like an LED light at night. The camera zoomed in closer, and Peter's long fingers reached out to cover the lens. The screen went black, and the video ended. The phone fell to the ground with a crash, and Peter sat on the nearby sofa, watching me. My mind was replaying my best friend's excited shout. Where did your pants go? Where did your pants go? Taken off. Where? What kind of public execution is this? Oh, God, are you trying to kill me? Teacher Peter, I'm sorry. I rolled off Peter's bed and stood next to him, head bowed, like a student waiting for a scolding. Peter's gaze was like a ruler, having thoroughly smacked me all over. He sneered. Sorry, that's it? He leaned back on the sofa, his shirt loosened, revealing his waist. Not to mention, it was quite slim. He seemed to notice my gaze, glanced at me, then at his waist. His last glance pushed my eyes away. I couldn't help but take a few steps back. Should I get you a gift then? He frowned. Bribery? No. Then I'll take you out for a meal? Still bribery. I was left speechless. What does he want? I quickly glanced around the room, grabbing my outerwear. If you don't want to see me, I'll leave right now. Let me know if you need anything else. He didn't answer, but pinched his eyebrows. Is that a yes? I turned to leave. Just as I reached the door, Peter's voice came from behind. Tomorrow night. Huh? I turned around, puzzled. Against the light, I saw him stand up. I have time. Is he agreeing to let me treat him to a meal? Hey, I was just saying that. There's no need to take it seriously. The next evening, Peter and I met at a hot pot restaurant near the school, choosing a table by the window. Peter wasn't wearing glasses today, dressed in a black hoodie. His hair was neatly styled, and he looked simple and elegant. Outside the window, people passed by continuously, but the two of us sat facing a hot pot, silent. Have you ever had a meal with someone but didn't say a word? To break the awkwardness, I suggested going to the milk tea shop across the street to buy 2 cups. At the milk tea shop, a sign on the counter announced in big letters, "Couples get the second cup at half price." A perfect opportunity to save money. For these few bucks, I'd even make up a couple if necessary. I'll take 2 cups, I explained to the shop owner. You see, my boyfriend is sitting over there in the hot pot restaurant. I was pointing to where Peter had been sitting, but there were only empty benches. Where did he go? I turned around and saw Peter had already arrived at the entrance of the milk tea shop. His expression froze upon hearing me forcefully assign him the boyfriend role. I froze too. What to do? Should I explain? Might as well not bother with the discount. But Peter composed himself and walked toward me step by step. It's me. I held 2 cups of milk tea and walked out of the tea shop shoulder to shoulder with Peter. The poor shopkeeper probably had never seen such a mismatched couple before. The people around us were so tall that they cast a shadow over me. I glanced at Peter, feeling a bit guilty. Teacher, I didn't mean to call you my. Peter seemed to take it lightly, lifting his chin slightly. Your what? Boyfriend? How could he say those words out loud? I blushed and nodded repeatedly. I just wanted to get a discount. I know. So nonchalant? So indifferent? No outburst of anger? Though he didn't seem to be the type to scold me, given his cunning demeanor and mastery of subtle remarks, I always felt this wouldn't just end like this. He glanced at me and smirked slightly. Wasn't it worse before? I suddenly remembered the husband in my contacts. The thought of it made me itch all over. I ignored him, unsure of what to say, and walked ahead with the milk tea. Suddenly, I felt a tightness on my arm as he pulled me back. Peter frowned. Red light. The red traffic light was glaringly bright, and his hand was firmly gripping my arm. I looked down, and the hand quickly withdrew. He awkwardly cleared his throat. I'll hold the milk tea. I handed over both cups, and Peter naturally reached out to take them. In that natural movement, our hands brushed against each other. The touch was warm and rough. I hurriedly pulled my hand back, almost dropping the milk tea. A resigned sigh came from above. Sigh. He held the milk tea steadily, carefully inserting the straws, and then handed it back to me. Is the class representative always so clumsy? I took the tea and took a couple of sips before someone tugged at my collar, pulling me forward. A clear, pleasant voice said, "Green light, greedy cat." The dinner was unexpectedly harmonious, although there was still some awkwardness. I made a considerable effort to keep the atmosphere lively, and Peter surprisingly didn't let the situation become stiff. He even smiled along with me a few times. What's this? A rare bloom. As we walked out of the hot pot restaurant, I casually asked him, Teacher, are you feeling quite happy today? He didn't respond. I pointed at his smiling face. Look, you're smiling. He stiffened his expression, took a few steps forward, and didn't answer my question. We walked shoulder to shoulder in silence. The atmosphere grew a bit heavy. Peter suddenly stopped. That picture from the other day, who were you going to send it to? His abrupt question caught me off guard, and I couldn't immediately respond. Which picture? In a flash, a scene of a seductive wildcat flashed through my mind. Seeing Peter's lips curl up as if about to say something small, I quickly jumped up and covered his mouth with my hand. His body stiffened, and so did mine. I quickly pulled my hand back and retreated. In my peripheral vision, it seemed Peter raised an eyebrow, and he even looked a bit pleased. What is he happy about? Why does his expression make me uncomfortable? I shot him a glance, pulled out my phone, and checked the time. My finger swiped the screen, revealing the Facebook chat interface. As I was about to press the lock button, I felt the air around me grow heavy again. Why? Why do I feel this way? It felt like a cold draft was seeping in from my right. If my eyes weren't mistaken, Peter should be on my right. His gaze was fixed on my screen, then it froze. Am I just a pause? I glanced at the screen and also froze. In the Facebook chat list, Peter's second contact note was now glaringly displayed in black letters: Bad Peter. The calm before the storm. I clearly saw Peter clench his jaw. I stayed calm, assessed the surroundings. The subway station was a few hundred meters away, the bus stop was across the street, and taxis were few and far between. This was the only option. I gritted my teeth and mentally counted down. 3, 2, 1. Run. I shouted, "Teacher, you don't need to see me off. I'm heading back now. See you in class." Just as I finished saying this, Peter grabbed my collar. Running? Feeling guilty? I gave a flattering smile. A little. Peter held my collar, tugging it gently. "What did you note me as?" A glimmer of hope rose in my heart. I was suddenly delighted. Didn't see it clearly? Clearly saw it. Saw it clearly and still asking? Is there a big pancake? Peter raised an eyebrow at me. First it was husband, then a bad dog. What's next? There's no next time. I raised my hands in surrender. Teacher Peter, Professor Peter, God Peter. Hearing the term of God made Peter suddenly chuckle softly, not believing it. Dare not believe. He tilted his head, looking at me. Just the lack of a next time has been said how many times? Really, countless times. Can't count, so write a few more assignments. Professor, please don't. Look, I'm usually so diligent and always on call. Peter began to slowly pace, and I followed him step by step, the streetlights casting a dim, yellow glow that elongated our shadows. Bargain for more assignments. Teacher, deduct class points. Don't make me write. Retake, please. We bargained all the way, and Peter walked me to the dormitory door. The door was close, but we walked for a long time. After reaching the dormitory steps, I looked back, and Peter waited for me to speak. I looked at him, then down at my shoelaces. Professor Peter, do you ever think I'm quite annoying? The dormitory lights were dim, but Peter's eyes were particularly bright. He said, annoying. I deflated instantly, my shoulders drooping, and after a long pause, I felt like I could only say, goodbye. But he half-turned, hiding his gaze behind his lowered eyelashes. Annoying, yes, but also quite cute. I never would have thought that a photo of Peter and me would end up on the school forum. It was from that day when I was drinking with my friend and hugging Peter in the photo. I have no idea who took it and posted it online. I was in a drunken state, with my face flushed red. Peter looked panicked, his face as dark as a pot bottom. The photo, showing us at our worst, had set the comments section on fire. Did the idol get a girlfriend? Confirmed single. Friends, I'm heartbroken unilaterally. I even saw a comment from my roommate. Wow, this girl looks like the idiot in my dorm. I felt a lump in my throat and nearly choked with anger. It wasn't just about me. I felt really sorry for Peter. Since meeting him, I've always been causing him trouble. With so many people seeing this post, it would definitely impact him significantly. What should I do? This can't be solved with just a hot pot or a cup of milk tea. I felt very ashamed and regretful. I was so embarrassed that I couldn't even face Peter, and I would quickly look away whenever our eyes met in class. I wasn't proactive with my assignments, and I would even leave as soon as Peter started wrapping up the class. Just as I left the classroom building, someone called out to me, Haley. I turned around to see Peter standing not far off, his hair a bit disheveled as if he had been in a hurry. He quickly walked up and stood beside me. I immediately took a step to the side, trying to distance myself from him. His voice came gently from above. Avoiding me? I remained silent, which was my way of acknowledging it. His frown eased. Are you upset because of the misunderstanding? Misunderstanding? Was he referring to the forum post? Does he know? I looked up and met his gaze. So, Peter also browses the forums. I felt a bit deflated. What else could it be? Peter sighed and walked a bit faster, giving me only his straightened back and a somewhat unclear comment. I'm actually quite happy. I stood there stunned. What does that mean? He's happy? Happy about what? That an unflattering photo was posted online? That he was publicly called a husband? Why? Could it be that Peter? Has he been bewitched? In the following days, I continued to keep my distance from Peter. One blurry photo doesn't mean much, but as long as I avoid contact with him, this issue should gradually fade from people's minds. Then everything will seem like it never happened. Holding on to this belief, I managed to get through to the final exams. If all goes well, this exam should be the last interaction between Peter and me. I took the exam while Peter was supervising. He sat at the front of the room in a walnut-colored shirt, his long legs clad in dark derby shoes. The outfit was simple, but it was evident that he had put a lot of thought into the matching and color. I wondered, is it really necessary to be so meticulous just for proctoring? I sneaked a glance at him, but he caught my eye instantly. me. He raised an eyebrow at me, looking quite pleased. Is Professor Peter showing off his plumage now? I didn't know he had this side to him. I quickly looked back at my paper and tried to focus. However, the questions were rather challenging. Just because I took this course doesn't mean I like it. I'm here to look at the man, so why give me such tricky questions? I groaned inwardly and glanced up to see that Peter had left the podium and was now pacing between desks. I pointed at a question and looked at him for help. He gave me a radiant smile. Hey, I wasn't greeting you. I'm asking for help. Help. I frantically tapped the question number with my pen. Peter's expression fell, and he put a finger to his lips, signaling me to be quiet. All right. I knew he couldn't be relied upon. Everything depended on my hard-working hands and clever brain. I turned my attention back to the paper and noticed 2 long legs stopping beside me. 3 pale fingers tapped on my desk. I looked up and saw Peter's eyes looking down at me. Answer the questions properly. Hey, wasn't I answering properly? Why does he have to come over here to emphasize something? Wait, emphasize? Why tap the desk with 3 fingers? What is he trying to indicate? Could it be C? I looked at him with some confusion, but his lips curved into a smile as he slowly walked away. So if 3 fingers mean C, did his 1 finger mean A? I felt an overwhelming gratitude swell in my heart. Professor Peter, you truly have hidden talents. I will always admire him. After finishing the exam, I thought that I wouldn't have any more contact with Peter. Though I still had his Facebook, it would probably just be for occasional likes on posts. Idle, an existence that is best admired from afar. After turning in my paper, I slung my backpack over my shoulder and walked out with the crowd. I overheard 2 proctors chatting on the podium. Peter, I know a girl who's really nice. Want me to introduce you? Peter's eyebrows furrowed clearly. No need. I know many girls. They're all great. No need. Peter fixed his gaze on the proctor, directly rejecting her with his eyes. The proctor was somewhat embarrassed and asked, well, I don't know what type of girl Peter likes. Peter, usually sparse with words, began to elaborate. I like. He glanced around the classroom and finally stopped at me. Eyes neither too big nor too small, slightly curly hair, a silly personality. Likes to send selfies. He ended with a smile, and preferably with a repetitive character in their name. My mind exploded. I hurriedly walked out of the classroom, blending into the crowd. What did Peter mean by that? Has he really not been bewitched? What is this? A public confession? As I was thinking, someone pulled the hood of my sweatshirt over my head. The hood was a bit big and blocked my view, so I stopped. Peter's voice came from behind, running again? What are you feeling guilty about this time? I pushed the hood back and looked steadily at Peter. Teacher, what did those comments mean? He smiled. It means exactly what you think it means. Exactly what I think it means. I stood there stunned, feeling a mix of joy, disbelief, confusion, and nervousness. I stammered, Teacher, actually, I've always been quite scared of you. Peter's tone suddenly became serious. Scared of me? What about? You can tell me. Teacher, you're an idol. You're someone who's best admired from a distance, not. Oh no. That sounded too flippant. I glanced at him, fiddling with my fingers, unsure of how to continue. Peter's smile widened again. Not what? His tone was teasing, clearly making fun of me. I scrambled to find the right words in my head. Not, wait while I come up with something. Peter's smile remained, and he leaned close to my ear, whispering, stop admiring from afar. Come and play. A month later, Peter and I were watching a movie together. He wouldn't just watch, he insisted on holding my hand. My right side went numb, and when I tried to pull my hand away, he tightened his grip even more. I gave him a gentle nudge. He winced in pain, and I quickly asked, am I squeezing you too hard? He straightened up and whispered in my ear, I'm still in good shape. He pulled me into his embrace, and as the romantic scene played, he deeply kissed my lips. The end. If you like Puppy's story, please follow and like it. Updated every morning at 9 a.m.